And just a cool thing before we start. This next Stephen Wilson Jr. Grief is Only Love. We don't know the lyrics. We don't know what it's going to talk about. But if you're struggling, leave a comment. And we're a faith-based channel.
Amen.
Here. We talk a lot where nothing's off the table. We'll talk about sex. We'll talk about marriage. We'll talk about
money.
We'll talk about
religion, work,
whatever. But we do also pray for people that really need some prayer.
Yeah.
And there was a guy that had commented on one of our old reactions, and we had mentioned, hey, we'll pray for you if you're struggling. Just leave a comment. And he left a comment about his mom. We prayed for her, and he said, thank you so much for the prayers. We got back the report from the doctors. She was going through chemo and stuff like that, and she is no longer is battling cancer.
No way.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And he said, thank you guys for the prayer.
Amen.
And so, we believe in health and wealth and prosperity. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
We believe in
Clear
winning.
mind.
We believe in winning. That's why we have a Trump flag. Because you just can't stop winning.
The truth will prevail.
Yeah.
It overcomes the darkness.
So here we go. We're going to now play Grief is Only Love. Here we go. And for those who are watching for the first time and you don't know what we do here, we do stop the video periodically to talk about it. If you want to watch the video, there is a link to the actual video so you can watch it without any interruptions. But this is a reaction channel. So we are going to stop it and talk about it.
Fair warning for the 15, 13 people that are watching us. And and we like to do that right at the start of every video just because we're about to get into it. We're like, wait. And it's like when you sit down to eat and you take your first bite and someone's like, okay, let's pray. And you're like, you have the food in your mouth.
Yeah. You're like, okay.
I'm hungry.
And you can leave a comment and we'll read it since we're live. Here we go.
Life is a battlefield, and it'll drag you right through hell. Bites like a rattlesnake, the kind that you just don't see on the trail. And I miss my father every day. The kind of pain I pray don't fade away. And the ones above guide me down the road. Their grief is only love that's got no place to go. From my great granddad in the ground to all the ghosts in my hometown, yeah, they're the ones that find me down the road. Their grief is only love that's got no place to go. Yeah, grief is on.
Okay, so the title is just half of the full lyric. Grief is only love that has nowhere to go. Whoa. Now, what's going on with you? What are you feeling?
Why are you turning it around on me?
Well, I just saw that it hit you, So I wanted to know what your thoughts were.
You want to know why?
Why?
Because of what you shared on the last one.
Oh, with the golden shackles?
Nope. In the last episode you did with Victoria, when you guys watched this.
The lyrics pulling something out of you?
What you shared about what's going on in your family.
Oh, with my dad. Yeah. My dad, for those who don't know, is he got a challenging report on his health. And when he was younger, he used to work in doing the installation in houses as a side job, I think, or part-time job. And he got asbestos in his lungs. And then on top of that, he was a smoker. And so that just really, really destroyed his lungs. And he's in his 60s. He weighs about 96 pounds and got a report that doesn't have too long to live based on the report. Now, he looks good right now. You could tell that he struggles with breathing and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a little sad. But it's kind of like This last funeral, like I didn't think it fazed me until the moment of truth. So I don't feel like the emotional weight of it until probably later on, you know?
So what hit me was that first lyric, and knowing that what you had shared and you being my friend and caring so much about you because you're so heartfelt and such a joyful guy, but you're also real and you also care deeply for people.
Yeah.
You know, so this might be a challenging situation for you because you're losing your father, who I know that you guys have been on a journey in your life with. And that, you know, that's tough when it comes to an end and you realize like, I got so much time left with this person. We've been through the ringer. You know, he's been my father. He's been my enemy. He's been, you know, a man that has, you know, been the root of the separation of a family, a broken home. But then I've come over the top in my own healing. And then it's the biblical story, right? The son comes to save the father.
Yeah.
Jesus comes to redeem Adam.
Yeah.
And the sin that he did. And it's like, that's the Pinocchio story too. So, you know, it's like you are the son that, you know, maybe helped him through that. And that gives that such a deeper relationship. And, you know, you can watch that in like the movie Field of Dreams, right? If you don't cry at Field of Dreams, then, you know, there's a hardened heart or something's going on there.
Yeah.
So when that revealed as the rest of the lyric, I'm just like, oh man, my friend Jacob here is, has that situation. That's a possibility.
Yeah. Well, and you know, it's interesting. It's an interesting dynamics between my father and I, because he believed that he heard from the Lord not to talk to anybody for years. And so I had lost contact of him for like 4 or 5 years. So I hadn't talked to him in 4 or 5 years or even longer. I'm not sure how long it's been, but then he finally comes out of hiding and then gives us this news. So it was kind of like, hey, there was already this absence of him. You know what I mean? We kind of moved on. But I've always loved my dad. You know, I was never mad at him for it.
Good.
Which is great. And but then when I look at his life and stuff, I just, you know, I look at his life and just am like, dang, was there things that you wanted to do that you didn't do? And if you want to do some things, let's try to get them done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so spending that time with them. And you know what's crazy is it's the amazing lyrics of Stephen Wilson Jr. But the amazing thing about songs is they can pull out these emotions, right? I see my dad. I hadn't seen him in all these years. He looks great. We know the diagnosis. I'm driving home, and I don't know if you guys know that YouTube listens to you. Social media, China,
dun.
They're watching us.
Always listening.
This song pops up on YouTube, and it's I think it's called Monsters, and it's the guy singing about his father dying, and he says, "I'm not your son, you're not my father." And you would think like, oh, he's saying, you know, like, you know, I reject you, but the lyrics is, "I'm not your son, you're not my father. We're just two grown men saying goodbye."
Man.
And I'm like, what the?
Wow.
Why would this come on now? And I just start crying.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you know, "It's okay, Dad. Close your eyes. I'll leave the light on. It's my turn to chase the monsters away."
Wow. Holy cow.
And we talk about lyrics, you know.
It's good.
Anywho.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back.
Good, yep. I mean, I would just encourage you, you know, you can wait for the moment of truth, but I would encourage you to start, you know, to have those conversations. I had a client who her mom had, you know, fallen, and it was one of those falls late in life where it's like the end is near.
Yeah.
And so we spent a few months, you know, having that conversation and preparing and talking about, you know, looking ahead to what that's going to look like and what life is going to most likely be like. And she has been able to walk through this season with the status of her mom in such a great, more grace-filled, stronger way, because we have already, you know, I've already, you know, helped guide her down the emotional path of what is it going to look like if this happens, and what is it going to look like if this stays this way, if it goes this direction. And she was able to, you know, express those emotions. So now she's already felt a lot of those emotions.
Yeah.
And she knows what to do, because here's the thing, somebody's going to have to be strong enough and sound mind enough to be able to guide everyone else through. And thankfully she knows the Lord. So she knows where, her mom is going, and she knows that she'll get through this with God.
Yeah.
But she might have to be the strong one that does it. So
Yeah. All right, back to Stephen Wilson Jr. Grief is only love. And then we just realized that's half the lyric, because grief is only love that has nowhere to go.
yeah.
The ones that find me down the road. Yeah, grief is only love that's got no place to go. Yeah, grief is only love. Hey! The world is a cannonball, yeah. So deal with the feelings you can't hide. God gave us alcohol when we need to leave them all inside. And I don't feel like crying, but I just keep crying for the ones above to guide me down the road. Yeah, grief is only love that's got no place to go. From my great granddad in the ground to all the ghosts in my hometown. Yeah, they're the ones that find me down the road. Yeah, grief is only love that's got no place to go. Yeah, grief is only love. Grief is only love. Grief is only love. And I don't feel like crying, but I just keep crying for the ones above to guide me down the road. Yeah, grief is only love that's got no place to go. So hang on to the hurting and let it grab a hold. And the only thing for certain is it's out of my control. Yeah, grief is only love that's got no place to go. Yeah, grief is only love that's got no place to go. Yeah, grief is only love. Grief is only love, yeah. Grief is only love, yeah, yeah, yeah. Grief is only love.
Whoa. Whoa. That was good. That was good. That was emotional. Now is a perfect time to talk about our sponsors. If you're joining us, thank you for joining us live today. We are sponsored by IgniteFire. That's us. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification button. And if you want to give, you can go ahead and donate at www.ignitefire.org, and you can choose to support this channel. We thank you.
I was on a call with a gentleman earlier today, and he was talking about how he had dealt with significant grief in his family from losing a brother to drowning, and then he had lost a son to having to bury a child. A good friend of mine, Aaron Hoffman, had lost his wife a couple years ago, and he's a worship leader out of Las Vegas, and he has now created a coaching ministry around grief, and the amount of people that don't know what to do with grief and struggle with it and carry it and hold it inside is significant. thankfully, he's the type of guy. He's kind of one of those social people. So, and he's in the church, so he was surrounded by great, just great resources and tools that he leaned into, and it helped him through. And the beautiful part is now he's using that pain and suffering to help others.
Yeah.
And so I feel like this is a topic where if you're dealing with grief and you are suffering because of loss of, somebody or a family member or a loved one, or even, a job can cause a lot of grief, or a thing.
Yeah. Or even a wife or kids.
Right.
Causing grief.
But if that's you, reach out, and I would definitely love to get you connected with my friend Aaron or others. He's been able to help so many people who are like, I haven't talked about this with anybody. I heard your story and it helped me, and I know there's others that are out there that are available.
Yeah, absolutely. I was asked to speak at a funeral of a wonderful man named Bill Stewart, and he was on the podcast. Vietnam War veteran, amazing guy, and impacted so many people. And we went to the funeral, and there was light moments. There was laughter, a lot of crying, and I didn't think I was going to cry. I honestly, I'm not very emotional. The only time I get emotional
what are you
is
talking about?
During Disney movies.
Or a
I
political
will
conversation.
cry during a Disney movie. And so I get there, and other people are crying and all this stuff, and I'm getting everybody hugs and seeing people I hadn't seen forever, and I'm like, oh, this is great. Okay, I'm gonna be able to get up there and talk, and we're gonna be good. Soon as his family gets up and his oldest son gets up there, just starts crying. I don't know what happened to me, but just it welled up inside, and I'm full of tears and crying. And I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna have to go up there, and I got to blow my nose.
Right.
This is embarrassing. But no, it was a beautiful ceremony. I got to get up there and share my experience with this man and all the people that he has impacted. But I think one thing that we desire is that person's presence. Because we care for them, we love them. But if they are no longer here, we miss them. But because we're people of faith, they're in a better place. They're in the arms of a loving God, and they're having a better time than we are.
Oh, yeah.
We just miss them.
Yeah.
So
well, I think it's kind of like what you shared about in your testimonies. And if you all haven't seen that, go back and watch Jacob's testimony, which I think is December 2023. And I believe it's the light that they brought into our life. In your testimony, you shared how Jesus told you, those are my children, and those lights on that earth are my children. They can't hear me. I'm calling to them, but they can hear you. And so, you miss the ones that you love. And, it's what you're missing, what you heard is that impact that they had on you. And there's a special loving impact. Right? Think about it. If your enemy dies or goes away, you're like, oh, thank goodness, right? But if your friend or the loved one passes, you're like, oh, man, I miss my friend.
yeah,
And I'm sad.
Of course.